Hi guys! Today I'm introducing something that has been on my heart for the last 4 years, literally. Rare Human Art is now introducing our first ever episode of our podcast series titled RHAP. RHAP is an acronym for Rare Human Art Project, where we will dissect the lives of artists from all over. Today I have a very special guest with me. She is a multidisciplinary artist from Brooklyn, New York. She's a photographer, painter, director, and model. Not only is she the hardest working woman in the tri-state area, she is a rare human artist, and she is also my friend. Introducing Storm.
I'm here with the lovely Storm. I'm so excited to have you here. When I was thinking of the first person to have on the series, I was just like, Storm. Like, it immediately made sense after my party. I was like, wait, like, she does everything. Let's have Storm. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm doing well. This morning was very smooth, and I'm just so excited and happy to be here.
Yes. So today, guys, we are going to be doing vision boards for 2026. We are closing out 2025 and just reflecting on the year we had and manifesting and prepping for 2026. Storm, I actually was wondering this. Is your real name Storm?
It's my middle name.
Do you want to tell the world? Is that TMI?
No, it's not TMI. So my first name is Jay Janae. So my full name is Jay Janae Stormcuff.
Jay Janae.
Yeah.
That fits you.
Does it?
It does.
Thank you.
Cute. Well, the secret's out. Cat's out.
The secret's out.
Cat's out the bag. So what made you want to take Storm and like make that your alias, like your brand, if we will?
That's a good question. Honestly, besides being called Jay growing up, I was called the Quiet Storm. Mm-hmm. And I'm the youngest of 4.
You're the baby?
I'm the baby. So I don't know. I honestly feel like I kind of started to really transition into Storm. I don't know. I feel like honestly, when I really started to adventure into my artistry, I think that's when I realized, okay, this is like becoming an umbrella of sorts, you know?
Yeah.
Like the painting, the dancing, the photography, modeling here and there, filmmaking, like all of that stuff really started to like mesh and make sense, and I feel like that in itself was a Storm. So.
Yeah. Love. So what came first? The dancing, the photography, the writing, and you model. So I'm like, what?
I be.
What grew into all of the things you do now? Like, what was the beginning?
I started off dancing first.
Like studio dance?
Yeah. So I grew up. I'm classically trained, so like ballet was like my thing. I wanted to be a prima ballerina in my life. Like that. That was really what started everything. And then when I went away to school was when I picked up photography and painting, kind of just for fun. And then shortly after came like video and writing. I went to school for sound design for film. So
wow.
Yeah, so I know how to like mix and master like sound effects and stuff like that.
Wow, so like almost like audio engineering.
Literally like sound design.
Wow, and what school was this?
Montclair State. Right.
Shout out Montclair.
Shout out Montclair.
Shout out Montclair State. So what? So the first solo show, was it photos of you dancing, or was it also like friends, or was it from the company?
So the title of that show was When Thunder and Lightning Sing. And essentially it was the juxtaposition between dancer and photography, because I hadn't started doing video at the time. And I really wanted to kind of like highlight where my art is going. So, and where I began. So I did have like a wall dedicated to. I had like my point shoes up there. I had like that. And then surrounding that was like the beginning of something new, which was all of my photography work.
Wow. So like transitioning from physical movement to just capturing that.
Exactly.
I love that.
And it was also, I forgot to mention, it was also kind of like the beginning of like my painting-ish as well. So I paint my photographs. So a lot of the work was like mirroring each other. It was like you see the photograph and then you see the painted version of it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of your second solo show that I actually got to attend.
Yes!
You know, it's so funny. Like, I was going there to pick up my photos from the Garden Boy show. I was meeting Steve-O there.
Yeah.
And like, I knew about it, but I didn't really know what it was. So I get there, and it's like the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all the work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I was like, yeah, so whose artist is what? I was like, whose artist what? He's like, it's all Storm's. I was like, wait, all of it? He was like, yeah, it's her show. I was like, wait. This is all hers? Because you had the photos you took. It was this photo of this little girl on the shoulder of her dad.
Oh, that's my favorite.
And then you had one that you painted, and then I noticed Jean, and I was like, oh wow, like, and then it all hit me. I'm like, wow, this is her solo. How did you get connected with the curator for that?
So Lily, shout out Lily. Her and I actually showed work together in like 2022, 2023. It was for the Black Arts Matters. You know, Black Arts Matters, that artistic gallery chain. They kind of move from city to city. No,
this is my first time hearing about that.
Oh wow, it's run by this Black woman. Well, I'm not sure what the team looks like now, but it's a kind of like a gallery art chain that moves from city to city, and Lily and I were showing work together, and since then, like, we've just been like really, really cool and really, really connected. And she started working with that gallery that I had the show in, and was like introducing them to different artists in the city and trying to put on shows for people. And she actually had an all-woman show 2 months prior that I was also in. She was like, what do you think about doing another solo show? And I was like, girl, I'm not ready. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's something you really gotta like plan for in advance. But she was like, no, like, you have to do it. And it has to be this year. It has to be this time slot. And when I tell you I was working, I was in my room.
Like,
painting constantly. I was out shooting, like, trying to piece everything together because I really wanted to do it. But I didn't feel ready. But
sometimes when God says you're ready,
you're ready.
You're ready. Like, I really truly believe that. I think fear can sometimes make you believe that you're not prepared. But I think some of the best art and some of the best things in the world have been created on the spot through natural, raw, God's energy. Seriously. So how long from her telling you this to you starting and getting everything together? Like, how many months did that take, or weeks?
Oh, it was like 3 weeks I had.
Oh, so like not even a full month.
No.
Not even a full month. If you guys didn't go to the show, is it on your Instagram? It is.
It's on my Instagram, yeah.
It was called some black
Tales of a Fly Blackberry.
Tales of a Fly Blackberry.
Yeah.
What brought that to you? Like,
so that title was actually the title of a photo series I did in 2023. And I kind of was inspired by two things. I was inspired by To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly.
By Kendrick?
By Kendrick.
Love him.
Because there's the black is berry, the sweet of the juice, that whole phrase. Like, I kind of wanted to take that phrase and put a spin on it, because I feel like it's often, the connotation behind that phrase is like the black is the berry, the sweet of the juice. Like, the blacker we are, the better the things are that exist around us. But I also feel like sometimes the connotation behind that phrase is a little racist. I kind of wanted to change it and say Tales of a Fly Blackberry, and all I do is capture black people. Yeah. So the entire show was about that, and that wall that you're specifically talking about with the black and white photographs. Yeah. I took that at Spike Lee's 35th anniversary for Do the Right Thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Were you there? I did, and it rained.
In the rain, yes.
That was actually a beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day.
Brooklyn was packed, even during the rain. Like, people were still outside having a good time. It just showed resilience.
Yes.
Personified.
Yes. The rain does not drive Brooklyn.
Wow, I love.
Yeah.
What was your most difficult piece from that exhibit? And is it your favorite? Because it was the hardest.
Okay, yeah. So my most difficult piece was two of my friends. I started this series called Vehicle, The Chosen Ones. And
Yes.
it's about cars and like, it's just the meaning behind it is very, very like layered and textured. But the piece shows these two guys dressed in suits. And they're like in front of this auto body shop.
Yeah, I saw those photos.
Yeah.
One of them is like this.
Yes, yes, that exact picture. So we shot that like summer of 2024, but I wanted to create a painted version of it, and I only had 3 weeks to do it. So that was probably the most difficult, just because of the details I wanted to get, and like I'm still learning how to get faces and like try to make them as like not only realistic but like human as possible and not cartoonish. Yeah. So trying to get that, but also the texture and the details in their suits and stuff. It was difficult, but it was definitely my favorite.
I think portraiture artists are clairvoyant in a way.
Oh yeah.
Clairvoyant, because
for sure.
Amy Sherrill, did you go to her exhibit at the Whitney?
Oh my god.
You're like looking at a person.
You're looking at a freaking person.
You're looking at a person, and I love, like, one thing I've noticed about artists that do portraits, you can always see a little bit of their face in the art.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It always looks like a version of them, maybe from a past
them.
life or from a, like, I don't know, but
I agree completely.
I think that you have to have a little bit of foresight, if you know what I mean, to do that, because you're literally creating a person from your own imagination that doesn't exist. But in your case, like, you already saw it through the lens of a camera, and now you're just recreating it in like
a whole nother medium.
A whole nother way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about your experience and your past with directing and filmmaking. Yeah. I saw that in 2023, was it? You did a screening of your short film.
Last year.
It was last year. So it's 2024. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like I'm meeting you after all of the things, but it's okay because there's so many more things to come that I'll be able to go to.
Yes.
So what inspired you to write that?
Oh my gosh.
Was it based off of a true story?
No, oh my gosh, I would hope not.
I thought it was. I thought it was. Like, when I was reading it, I was like, this sounds like it actually happened.
Really? Wow, I'm doing something right.
Hey.
But in school, so I had a screenwriting class in school. And that was actually a script that I wrote in class. It definitely went through several different transformations before we actually like started working on it. But truly, it was an easy A assignment. I was like, this is what I want to do. I knew I wanted it to be a love story because I'm a hopeful romantic, not hopeless one.
I love that.
I really wanted to create something beautiful surrounding love, specifically Black love. And even though there is a tragedy somewhere in there, I don't know where.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be a struggle love story. I want the standard of what Black love looks like to be different because it exists in that way. Like, I don't have to be with you and you're cheating on me, do this, that, and third.
You in out of jail.
Vice versa. Yeah, like that kind of narrative is not indicative of who we are, and like I feel like that specific way of storytelling and like storytelling specifically about us is just so, it's just not true.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to write something about that. I wanted their love to be so palpable that you feel it. Like you feel it when they look at each other. Like you feel it when they're dancing together. And that was something I really wanted to focus on specifically because like in the film they don't even really touch that much. Yeah. Like they don't share like kisses or anything. Like it was very like their love was so physical that it existed outside of what that was. So,
was this like your directorial debut?
Yes, it was.
And I saw that you did like a campaign, you raised money. How was that coming together from like inception to like putting it out into the world, ideation? How was the process of that?
That's a really good question because the whole pre-production part was literally only a month. And in film speak, that's nothing. Yeah. That's like a day. Once I revisited the script, like I like reread it. And I knew I already had friends who knew how to handle cameras, like who knew how to do sound because I was in school for sound. And I knew people who knew how to like do wardrobe and makeup. So
you had a family already.
I already had a family.
Ready to go whenever.
They were ready. When I say people were ready, like shout out to all my friends, everyone who was a part of the film, all the extras, whoever. Like it was just a matter of just doing.
Yeah.
Like we had meetings on meetings on meetings on meetings, and it was just like, all right, we're ready to shoot. Like it was no like insane thought behind it. It was a lot of just delegating and figuring it out as we went, but like I would do it all over again.
Yeah,
I would do it all over again.
Love.
Yeah.
So the story is essentially about a guy whose girlfriend passed away.
Yes.
And he puts on a photo exhibit of photos of the both of them, or just her.
It's just her.
Just her.
Yeah.
I love that. I think like photos, just like how I said portrait artists, like it immortalizes something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think if you look at photos from like we were talking about Studio Museum, like they're showing work that has been in our community for generations. And I think taking photos and having photographs, it immortalizes you and your work.
Yes, definitely. That's my girl.
So, would you ever do like film fests, like American Black Film Fest, Sundance, or is film something that you did in college and you like I just want to do it, or is it something that you really want to like put roots in and like actually grow?
So my film was actually in a few festivals this past year, and I don't know, like I feel like going into it, I don't think I necessarily thought about where longevity wise, like where it would go. But I think the more and more I experiment with video and the more and more I do like these campaigns or just like video shoots and stuff, I find just a lot of joy in directing and coming up with a story and writing. I would definitely like to see where that can go. I just want to play. I just want to experiment and like really approach it from a place of genuine curiosity, and not see it as like a really hard or harsh layer in like my career. Like I want it to be something that's like
just
enjoyable.
flows.
Yeah, you know.
That I admire that so much about you. Like I was looking through your website and stuff, and I'm like, it takes so much to just do. And I just feel like you give yourself permission to just create, and that has been something that I personally have struggled with. What do you think that comes from?
I honestly feel like I have an extreme responsibility to honor my younger self. I feel like she's gone through a lot, seen a lot. And I feel like she has had such immense and extreme dreams and aspirations at such a young age. And I feel like a good majority of the work that I create is honoring her. And I feel like within kind of just creating and not having like these weird or like really high standards or expectations for myself, I feel like I am approaching a lot of my work through a childlike lens, you know. And I feel like art, that's what art is. Art is literally a giant experiment. And I feel like the more that we approach it in that way, I feel like we won't be as pressured or we won't compare ourselves to each other all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I noticed that you have been doing a little bit more of like branded content, like working with fashion brands. I actually met you on wear them, but I remember, and then just like being on set that day, like that was in February or was that January? That was like beginning of the year. Yeah, like coming up on a year of that, like I just remember being on set, like it was so much love in that room.
So much love in
it
that
was
room.
Natural. It didn't feel like forced. And if I remember, like it was no script. It was kind of just us, like
a lot of it was just y'all vibing out.
And I love how you create Black experience by letting Black people just be. You're capturing that. It's not so much direction going on. And like once you see the final product is flawless. Like, I remember seeing the video. First of all, the turnaround was crazy.
Yeah, the turnaround was wild.
I was like, we just shot this. The turnaround was crazy. I was like, it's already edited. It's already out. Like, I love. What made you want to work with FUBU?
Oh my gosh. So my dad has hit a lot of his old like FUBU, like denim, like when FUBU was platinum FUBU. Like, back in the day when it was like Fat Albert on the bag, Muhammad Ali.
Did you order those pieces? Or were they...
So some of them were my dad's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there were like maybe 5 or 6 that were his, and then the rest were some of the ones that I collected on my own. And I've always just loved denim. Denim on denim is like my signature. I wear that like every single day.
I get that vibe from you. You give me like very like Canadian tuxedo.
Yes,
boots,
all the time. So I've always loved just like seeing those pieces, and I used to wear them in high school. And I don't know, like it was just something about. It's something about FUBU, especially what it stands for us, by us. And being that all of my work is about Black people. So I don't know, it was just like coming from like the high of the film and like coming into the new year, I was just like, I want to adventure out into brands and like seeing what that could look like. And I've always wanted to like kind of see what FUBU would look like reimagined. So that's why it's called that.
FUBU Reimagined. So, gonna be Death to 24 soon. Storm. I thought she was turning 24, so I printed out 24. She's turning 25, so we're just gonna cross this out and put 25. What are some things that 24 taught you to not do at 25?
That's a good one. I feel like 24 definitely showed me that rushing is a psychological lie. And rushing doesn't actually mean you're going faster. And I feel like rushing is sloppy. Whereas taking your time and moving slower, you get to enjoy the process of whatever it is that you're doing. In context of what I'm talking about, more so just like my art in general and all the things that I do. I feel like since adventuring out into photography, filmmaking, all these things, I feel like I constantly have to rush. And I obviously, kind of blame social media and just like
this
seeing
microwave industry.
Yeah, this microwave industry. We're constantly on a treadmill. I was speaking to my sister about this. We were just talking about being on a treadmill, and it's like never ending. And I feel like it's just not sustainable, and it's not a healthy way of being an artist. So I definitely feel like 24 taught me to just slow down. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to pause. It's okay to sit down. And I feel like it reminds me of this quote that said, what did it say? It was like, did I do enough work to deserve rest, or did I rest enough to do my best work?
Did I rest enough to do my best work?
Instead of the inverse being, did I work enough to deserve rest? So you deserve rest all the time.
What are we? Are you okay? What do we have on our vision board? I'm like, you're doing yours alone.
Oh yeah, might as well.
No, honestly, there's so many images. I'm like, I'm gonna have to start stacking or go on the back.
Yeah, true.
So can you walk me through a few of these?
Yes. I have Solange over here, Renelle Madrano. I have a lot of like old school 1970s Corvettes and Ferraris. Forbes 30 under 30 coming for you. A couple of brands, Aimé Leon Dore, Brooklyn Circus, Carl Kanai. Also have just like artists within their space and their own installations. I have a film camera here, American Black Film Festival, Sundance Film Festival, and just some quotes that I feel like are really, really important to take in. First one is, your next chapter is going to be amazing. You will receive a massive payment that sets you up for life. And Lord, prepare me for what I am preparing
for. Amen. Amen. Mine has a little bit of everything. I have some brands that I am going to work with. I did a few castings, but I haven't heard anything, so I guess that's
okay.
what it is. Realize God is you. I feel like so much of what we put out is a reflection of what is in, and we are like manifestations of what God wanted. So I feel like you have to embody that, and I think that means being sober at times, you know, meditating, eating the right type of foods, just like understanding that you can't be putting things inside of your body that God does not allow, because he can't work through you if he's having a swim through liquor and weed and all this other stuff. So
that's beautiful.
I have a quote from the Bible. I have Renelle, my queen. I love her as well. Salon, some body goals, and some more skincare campaigns, makeup. I am manifesting some wheat paste posters of me next year, and then just like doing more creative content, art fairs, curating more. I'm planning to do an exhibit in 2026, so manifesting that as well. And yeah, I was born to tell stories. I feel like I want to tell the stories of myself and people around me. So yeah, topicals. I'm coming for you as well. I've been wanting to work with topicals. Shout out Alameda.
Yes,
I met her in Paris, so it's bound to happen someday. Yeah. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for, you know, supporting Black women, supporting me, supporting RHARE, and I'll see you guys in the next one.